We're back. I believe this is the 5th vault of the season. We're going into week 6. So I have a lot of vaults to open. Not all of them are fully filled. I've been slowly to actually start working on my Death Knight. I'm debating on playing like Blood or Frost. I also have my Paladin, both monks, my warrior. I technically did stuff on my shaman as well. And then finally, I have a 3rd Brewmaster I did some work on that I will maybe open in this video, but we'll see. So we're going to start off with our alts first, actually. Let's start with the DK. And if nothing is good in the vault, you'll be seeing me on a Paladin. So Blood DK has been in a pretty rough spot. This patch, I would say so far, I think there's just a myriad of issues from lower overall damage to just like survivability is obviously always a struggle in the BDK and Mythic Plus specifically because of just the way that Mythic Plus naturally works. There's a lot of, in an infinitely scaling system, you don't have infinite throughput capabilities as a BDK, and with mitigation, your primary form of mitigation being like obviously Bone Shield, but also throughput, you eventually run into issues, or at least extremely creative problem solving. So most of the reason that I'm gearing the DK is, first off, I think the tier set looks good, so I kind of want the transmog. I'm also just trying to broaden the breadth of tanks that I play more this season. I've played everything in the past at various levels throughout basically the last 2 expansions, but also Frost DK has been getting some crazy reviews and I kind of want to try Frost. So I am going to be rolling Blood, but I am probably going to end up making this character more or less of a Frost DK alt that I'm going to play casually in keys because I do want to challenge myself and play some DPS this season. So we're going to rip this open. I did like 2 or 4 delves, I don't remember, so it's not going to be anything crazy. I ended up only doing 2. Haste versus Belt. That's fine. I'm not against this. I actually have it on already at like the veteran version. I am going to just be taking this just for crests, just to save. I don't have the Delve Belt yet. At least I don't believe I do. Maybe I do, actually. I should have it, actually. Or if not, I'm going to probably get it. But the Delve Belt's still really strong. But having this for now is also absolutely fine. And plus, it's just like, yeah, just an eye level upgrade. So not a great vault to start, but it's also, I knew what I was getting into when I had only, I guess, done 2 delves instead of 4. For some reason, I thought I did 4. Anyways, we'll swap to the Paladin. Oddly enough, I've been enjoying Paladin a lot this season so far. I played Paladin a lot in Season 1. I ended up pushing fairly high IO on it as well. I really like the Lightsmith playstyle. Obviously, it's kind of a shell of its former self in terms of how broken and overpowered it is because you no longer have like infinite spirit links between your players. But Paladin is been fairly enjoyable. I like the Lightsmith dynamic. It's a little bit of a better change of pace from like Templar in my opinion. So I've been playing it. Will I end up pushing on it? I don't think I will. It might end up being similar to my Prot Warrior last season where I'm going to try to like get title on it maybe if my group lets me, but I had a pretty scarring experience with them pretty early on already when I was a little bit less geared. We did a hard mode and I died to like trash before the first boss, so they might not allow me to play this. I did a couple of keys and I did some delves, so I should see 3 vault slots, but I'm going to be focusing on mythic gear here. And then let's see what we get. Actually, kind of perfect. So I got Hero Track hands, which is an upgrade from my current hands, except the hands are probably the worst item since they're heavy crit and mastery compared to some of our other, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong about that, actually. Maybe the pans are the bad ones. But nonetheless, I don't want to get Hero Track gear if I have access to Mythic Track, and we do. We have a Mythic Track helm in our 2nd slot. Ceaseless Swarmgland is also here. This trinket has been buffed since its Season 1 counterpart. While it isn't necessarily like broken or bugged or like strong, it actually has bugs. It's not a terrible trinket if you don't have other options. So if you ever see this in your vault and you don't have any other tank trinkets, it's actually not terrible. Now, the weirdest part about this trinket is we never really know how much damage it's mitigating because it doesn't show up in logs or anything. It's not like a small absorb when it reduces damage that's being dealt to you. The other problem with this trinket is because it's only absorbing a certain percentage of each attack, there's like kind of a hard cap on it. It's not like a percentage or anything like that. It's just, it absorbs a couple of thousand of damage basically. Long story short, I'm going to be taking helm here, which is actually super nice because the current helm I have on is like 691. It's like a low level champion piece right here. So this is a massive upgrade compared to like something like shoulders, which I already have on mythic, or my other Hero Track tier. So I'm actually really happy with this. Obviously I wish it had a socket or like leech or something, but that is our mythic helm. And then what's nice about doing this is I believe I have a bunch of Valor Stones just for transmog purposes. Right now, I don't believe I have the heroic version of this item unlocked. So I'm going to just upgrade this now helm, my old helm for free up until I unlock the heroic version of it, which I believe is just once. And now we have that appearance. So we're actually almost filling this out. I like this appearance a lot, just not on a goat. For some reason, Draenei helms look really weird. I know this is a kind of a side rant. I think Draenei without helms look way better than Draenei with helms. Just the models look clunky. Anyways, so let's move on to the rest of our characters. So unlike the Protection Paladin, I have not been enjoying Prot Warrior this season. I don't know what it is. I suspect it's because of Mountain Thane. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of how Thane feels currently. I think it's missing that one button, that demolish button from the kit. I don't like thunderclap spamming. I don't like the pseudo RNG of like getting resets and procs back to back from ionizing strikes on the tier set. So I don't know how much I'm going to be playing Prot Warrior this season. I have ended up speccing this into Fury. I've kind of moved around a lot of my gear and my stats. I'm still a little high on crit and a little low on mastery, but for the most part, this character is like not terribly geared. I'm probably still going to play Prot eventually. My group has kind of hinted at me playing it potentially, so if I need to for keys, I will. I'm not very satisfied by the current gameplay loop of Thane, even though I know a lot of people do. So I'm not trying to bash on it. I think it plays well, but it's just not for me because it's very like one button spammy, hoping for resets. I don't really care for it. I like a nice smooth like rotation, which generally a lot of the other tanks do offer outside of currently Thane. So I'm going to be opening this up as protections. Nah, fuck it. I'm going to go arms. So arms removes one-handed weapons potentially from being looted. So a big problem that you'll get when you like loot the vault, and maybe I'm wrong about this because I haven't really ever had to roll anything else, but if you go to Dawnbreaker and you look at the one-handed weapon, if you filter this to Fury, it can still drop, but if you filter it to arms, it can no longer drop because arms can only ever use two-handed weapons. And unfortunately, Fury, single-minded Fury, like doesn't ever work like you want to two-handed weapons. So whenever you do roll Fury for damage, for keys, for like loots, make sure you're in arms because Fury has the chance to give you one-handers, which is never good. Now, don't get me wrong, I have like a 707 Myth shield with Leech on it. Like my Prot Warrior is geared and it's very well statted. Just we'll see. That's going to be a future me problem. So let's open this up and see what we get. So we got a high haste, or I guess high crit haste helm. This is also really solid because my current helm is 704 on the champion track. So I'll probably be taking this, but I also have boots and an indestructible chest on the hero track from obviously Delves. Now the problem with this is obviously I'm going to eventually want the raid boots, especially if Dinars are able to buy them. And I already have a hero track chest with avoidance on it. So chances are I'm just going to take the helm. It's mythic track. What's most likely going to happen in the future is I'm going to send this into the catalyst if I don't already have a charge, which I might actually go check now because I'm going to just get it out of the way because I don't believe I have any other mythic track items in my bags that I would consider using at all. So let's, I guess let's just jump down here and see. And then what'll happen is it'll replace this helm, which will have higher crit, less haste. There's an argument that you can make that I could just like convert my chest to tier, which would be high mastery and then lower crit. This would be great for arms, but it wouldn't be great for Prot. So if I ever want to play Prot, I think this is kind of the best of both worlds, unfortunately. Realistically, I'm just going to have like, I'm going to just get a better belt and stuff because I can always catalyze a belt to have haste mastery on it, which would be much better. So I'll probably do it in the future when I like have an extra catalyst charge, but I have nothing to use it on, probably next week. So we'll see. So I'm going to just send this helm just for shits and gigs and call it a day. And we're seeing like actually not bad vault so far. So hopefully this we keep this up, and hopefully I didn't just jinx myself by saying that. So I am on my alt Brewmaster currently. I do have two, actually technically I have three Brewmasters now. I never know why. Sometimes I look at my character page, I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like I said before, Monk's just a class I can play forever. I can play it all day, and having a second Monk gives me a second character to chase. It gives me other problem-solving dilemmas that I have to like work through, like through gear acquisition, etc. So I do enjoy having multiple Brewmaster Monks, and that's the main reason why. We're going to open this as Brewmaster and hope we loot something big. Not too shabby. So here we are, a polearm with avoidance on it. Now, this is not well statted, but I'm going to talk about actually something really quick in a second. We also got the Incorporeal Warp Claw, which just is basically an on-use, not an on-use, sorry. It's just like a passive damage. event that happens. So for example, if we come to a site like Liquid Armory, and we go to Brewmaster Monk, you're going to see that the Incorporeal Warp Claw actually isn't like super terrible. It's about middle of the pack. You know, it's behind some of these other trinkets that are going to just be better. For example, Tome of Flights of Ocean, which I have, Brand of Ceasire, which I have, Improve Improvise Seaphorium Pacemaker, which I have. So I have better trinkets. So it is technically an option. But as it scales into higher target count, you're going to notice that, I mean, it kind of stays the same, kind of middle of the pack. Or when I say middle of the pack, like middle of the pack would technically be like down here. And even actually in AoE, it looks like it actually goes up in AoE compared to something like Seaphorium Pacemaker. But let me double check this on Blood Mallet, because I just want to like double check, because sometimes some things might be incorrect. So if we look over here, it's actually going to be pretty far down the list. And then as again, we go like to 5 targets, it's still going to be kind of low. I have Sigil, I have Seaphorium, I have Nethergate, I have not Curstone, I have Ceasire. So like I have a lot better trinkets. So if we come back in game, I'm for taking this trinket. Currently my brand is kind of low, even though brand is just going to do way more damage. I also have it on hero track already, so going from hero to mythic is not going to be that much of a difference. But what I will say is that taking this polearm, while it isn't ideal stats, I'm most likely going to be swapping to a dual wield setup here in the future, because I have 2 mythic track weapons at 710. Now the problem with dual wielding in terms of crests is that you have to spend double the amount of crests to upgrade all your weapons all the way to max. But if I upgrade this weapon to max, I can upgrade then these for free, saving myself, give or take, 60 crests. Because the 2-handed weapon counts as both slots for some reason. This is a really weird, it's not even a bug, it's just like a weird game loop mechanic that like shouldn't exist but does. I think if you upgrade one weapon outside of like maybe, I don't know, shield, I know that's a bad argument, never mind. So yeah, that's kind of my logic right now. And then I will be able to actually wear those weapons. And that's going to be a pretty massive item level upgrade as well if I take this versus the Warp Claw, which again, probably not even going to use. And if I do use it, I have it on the hero track already. So I'm probably going to just ignore it. So yeah, we're going to take this fat weapon. Now, the only problem that I foresee is that I'm probably going to run out of Valor Stones, because upgrading weapons, as you may know, is super, super, super expensive. So upgrading this all the way to Mythic or Max is going to cost me 1,000. And then I also need to craft or get my other weapons up. But again, this is going to save me crafts. So my first one that I'm going to do is actually going to cost 0, and then I will only have to spend 60. And so if we slam this all the way up, hopefully this isn't a stupid mistake. I didn't spend any of my crafts last week. Okay, so then we'll just make sure this is like equipped, for example. This is such a cool polearm. Now we can upgrade these all the way for free. This one's going to be 400. And then obviously I'm going to have to farm. I'm going to have to, oh my God, I'm going to have to fucking farm Valor Stones. This is when Valor Stones are at their worst. They don't mean anything to, like, I have several characters, I shouldn't say several, I have multiple characters that are like between like 1,500 and 2,000. And now on this character, I need to upgrade gear. I have upgrades available to do, but I now just have to like farm Valor Stones. I don't even need, okay, like I need Crests, obviously I'll take Crests, but I just need Valor Stones, that's it. So I don't really, I'm going to have to do that just from keys, so I can't really like get this started right away. Now, one thing I guess I'll say is that dual wielding is generally, at least according to Sims, a worse thing to do. You generally want to be wielding a polearm. In my experience, there's a minimal difference, and there are benefits to actually utilizing dual wielding over just single wielding a polearm. I have a video that I've talked about this in the past, which I will link maybe if I remember on screen. If you're interested in the difference between the two, you can always go and check that video out, because I go over all the nuances of both. But something that I haven't done lately is I haven't like done this guy. So I have all of these Weathered Crests and Valor Stones staying around, which I can just pick up here. Now, unfortunately, it's not even a lot of Valor Stones. I think I only got like 80 there. It means I can upgrade a weapon at least once more before I swap over to my last character. Actually, I'm going to be able to slam both of these. So now, okay, I was ranting, and then now I don't need any more Valor Stones, and it's all good. So now what's going to happen is, just in case you're not aware, we do get access to we now have access to another spark, and you can always check this out in your currency tab. We now have 6 of 8 Starlight Spark Dusts. We had 7 last week, now we have 8, so you get to do another craft this week. So when you acquire Crests, you will be crafting. Now, I will say this, if you have a main and you're fairly optimized and you didn't waste any crafts up to this point, like you accidentally crafted a weapon, or maybe you crafted a cloak for some weird reason, now you're going to have access to crafting any piece you want. Chances are, this can be kind of a throwaway piece. By end game, you'll probably want to minimize the amount of crafts you are, using. But for example, this character, I can craft another ring because my ring is quite low. I could craft boots, maybe, because I don't really raid on this character. Or I can maybe craft a better neck. Even though I've already technically sent stuff on this and I've leech, so I don't think I'll do that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, your 4th craft is kind of a throwaway, kind of, in a way, unless you're making like a 2-handed weapon, but that's a totally different argument. So anyways, yeah, make sure you do one of like the weekly quests over here and you should be able to get your spark. But without wasting too much time, I'm going to jump to my main monk, I should say. All right, so this is always like the main event, I would say, of these types of videos, because obviously it's my main. Now, this character raided last week. I got 5 mythic kills. We got all the way through Fractillus on farm, and then we were progging Soul Hunters, had a devastating 2% wipe. Hopefully we kill it this week. So there's a couple of things I'm hoping for. First off, I'm actually kind of conflicted on what to roll my vault as, because on one hand, if I roll tank, I have access to tank trinkets. There are a lot of tank trinkets that I'm still looking for, which include Ring and Ritual Mud as a defensive option, because I haven't been really sold or a fan of the Soulbinder's Embrace lately. I've been trying it out in keys. It's kind of mid, I would say. Main reason is because there's just like not a lot of tank busters that you actually need it for, and in terms of absorb, like it feels pretty bad against like just auto attacks compared to like Ring Ritual Mud, which is a very sizable absorb shield. I'd also like Tome of Light's Devotion, mostly for like lower keys or for raid, because my raid parses, I'm like breaking those 98s, 99s, but I can't get those like close to 100 parses that I am challenging myself to try to get this tier, because I am missing the second highest single target damaging trinket, which we kind of just looked at here. If we come back to single target, you're going to see that Tome of Light's Devotion is well above the rest, even like Curstone Idol and Astral Antenna, even though these trinkets do work. And I'm currently playing Improvised C4 Pacemaker. It's clearly better, especially on Mythic track. So that would be nice. And then lastly, a Mythic brand. So if you kill a later boss in the tier, like let's say if you had money to buy a Mythic Demensius kill, but you'd kill no other Mythic bosses, it would unlock all of the loot table in your vault for Mythic. And that was a change I believe they made last season or maybe a couple seasons ago. But basically what it does is it prevents you from like trying to like target specific bosses in Mythic. But basically what I'm trying to say is, despite not killing Soul Hunters, Fractillus is considered the 6th boss in the raid. So by killing Fractillus, you unlock Soul Hunter loot in your vault. And so if I roll tank, I have the chance to actually get the Brand of Ceaseless Ire, which would be super, super nice. But on the other hand, I really want Fractillus's Windwalker trinket, which is the Unyielding Nether Prism. This doesn't give any stats at all, but when you use it, or actually over time, it actually just will deal damage, and it builds up stacks, and those stacks, when you use the trinket on a 20-second cooldown, or you can use it whenever, gives you agility per stack. And so this has been a very popular choice for some Brewmaster monks who have access to it in keys, because you can basically pair it up with any Weapons of Order window, whether you're playing Master of Harmony, whether you're playing Shado-pan, putting a lot more power into that cooldown, which I think is just so good. So if I roll tank, I have access to 3 tank trinkets that I'd really like to have in my arsenal. If I roll DPS, I won't have access to any of those. And I will have to end up like eventually using Dinar, which Dinar comes out in a couple weeks. So like I'm not actually like, no matter what I do, it's not the end of the world, because I can always, again, buy the Nether Prism. I can always buy Brand. I can buy Tome, like whatever it is. So I guess it's really just like the odds. Like, what are the odds I get one trinket from the raid that I need? Because there's nothing else that would benefit me for rolling DPS for. There's nothing else that I would actually need in terms of trinkets. Even, I guess I can also get the Sigil of the Cosmic Hunt, which isn't terrible, but it's also not super great. So yeah, I think the safer play is to roll tank. Yep, all right, we're doing it. Fuck it, we ball. That was a long way to basically tell you that my vault's going to be shit. Yeah, okay. I didn't even get it. It doesn't even matter. Nothing matters. This game fucking sucks. Okay. We have a belt, which we crafted already, so I don't need it. Other mythic slot. Bracers. I've crafted it. Dude. Oh my god, I hate this game. It's fine. It's fine. I will say this. This is the worst season of Vault. Like, this is my worst main season vaults I've ever had. So I'm pretty devastated, but I guess that's fine. So like, neither of these even save me Crests, because I've already crafted at 720 in both of those slots, and then of course I have a haste mastery neck on the hero track. So this is just like an absolute spit in the face. It's like, why do I raid? Why do I raid? Like, I have 2 shoulders, which one I don't have to obviously send a catalyst charge for, and then one I do. Neither of them have tertiary stats, so there's no reason. I'm going to take the ones with tier. And Signet of the Priory, again, kind of a mid trinket. Most builds, even when you are playing Master of Harmony, you're playing Chi Surge for cooldown reduction. So it's like it's already desynced, and you can choose not to play it, but then it's like you're trading a small damage gain in CDR for a trinket that'll let you like damage back. So it's kind of like a weird trade-off. It like opens up a talent point option, if anything, which I'm just not going to take. And obviously this is hero gear down here, and like the neck is really good. It's crit verse. It's a little bit better talent or like balanced stats. So the long lost choker is actually a solid neck if you ever see it from delves, and these shoulders are also good too if you want crit verse in this slot and you end up playing legs. So actually both of these for their hero track equivalent are actually really good for the Brewmaster, but we're going to be taking shoulders. Now I shouldn't be super upset because they are mythic track and I don't have mythic track shoulders yet, and targeting those tier pieces is a good thing because eventually, like I said, dinars are going to exist. We're going to be able to buy any dinars or like any trinkets you pretty much want. We're assuming that it's going to be up to 3. Could be more, could be less, but basically you're going to be able to buy 3 trinkets or cantrip effect items. So assuming including boots, maybe if we're lucky, it's also going to include like Harvester's Interdiction. So yeah, I'm a little sad about this. The worst part too is that I ended up like, I have mythic track shoulders already. And I just realized that now after I took my vault, that means I definitely could have just taken a socket to put into my mythic helm. So, little sad. And then the only other thing that I guess I have 2 catalyst charges. So, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to then send my mythic track chest that I got from a hard mode run a couple weeks ago into the catalyst. And then that's pretty much it. So in terms of this character though, like I can't even be that upset. Most of my gear is like, I would argue, quote unquote, perfect. I'm missing these raid boots still. I like my ring setup, so I'm not too defeated here. My trinket setup is also good. They're just both on the hero track, which I would prefer to have mythic at some point. My necklace is a little low, but this is something that like I can eventually craft if I need to. I can also just deal with it because the neck being lower for a while is not a concern I have. And so yeah, that's that. Oh my god, like I'm so sad, man. I'm saying it's not even a bad vault. I can't even be mad. I didn't have to take sockets, which is kind of like the thing I dread doing for obvious reasons. Because sockets this early in the season are not fun. I think like after the 0.5 patch, I think taking sockets are like small power gains. It's kind of like whatever. So we'll put these shoulders on. And yeah. So like I said, you do get an extra spark this week, so make sure you're doing that. And of course, make sure you can save 60 of your Gilded Ethereal Crests to allocate towards making a 720 item. So yeah, best of luck in your vaults. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.